following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton, Kurt Daniels, Jesse Holley, and Shannon Gross.
Well, surprise, surprise, surprise from a chilly Frisco, Texas is 97 degrees here, as Shannon's always announcing what the temperature is here at the Star in Frisco. And guys, look, we're back here.
Some of us are here, right?
Yeah, some of us
We're
are
ready.
here, but everybody's over there. And as you see, the boys are back in town, but 1,400 miles away from here. And I'm going to hang it with the boys. And I feel like, Kurt, I should read that disclaimer that says this program includes offensive language.
Nah.
So, viewer discretion is advised.
We don't have Shannon and Jesse yet with us, so.
Hey, but it is the People's Show, and I am happy to be back on the show with Kurt Diesel. Kurt Daniels is in the building, and the great Nate is on the phone. Nate Newton, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing today, man? Well, I can hear y'all excited. Y'all ready to go, ready to make this thing happen. So let's rock and roll.
Nate, you already know when I come in the studio, man, that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to give it energy, man. I don't know no other way, Nate. Hey, but
I hear you.
But, Nate, you're out there in it, and I got so many – my questions have questions about this football season that we're heading into. But so far, Nate, just give me an evaluation of what you've been seeing out there in Oxnard.
You know, I wish I could just say, hey, man, they took this head off, or this guy, he was so physical, or this guy ran by this guy. But they're running around in shorts and helmets, man. And, you know, they it's much of the same, like of a high speed mini camp. You know, guys are moving around, guys are looking good. Anthony Brown opened up the camp, which y'all probably already know, with a pick six. He took one right off the tip, boy, and went right to the house with it. The young Tobert, the wide receiver, he's looking okay. Jalen Tobert, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's looking pretty good. You know, working with Dak during the summer is paying off here early in this 1 day or 2 day of practice here. So everything is moving pretty good. I mean, I looked at old Michael Gallup while he was working out with Brent Brown. He's looking pretty nice. And you know, so they doing their thing. And Damon Clark, I mean, I did not know. And I'm talking about the rookie we got in, the 5th round from LSU.
Yeah, the linebacker.
Man, Sam Williams, they went out and got some guys that truly look the role, man. If these guys can play like their bodies look, man, they done hit on something big here. And I'm for real. These dudes look nice, man.
Now, Nate, for somebody like you that's used to going through, when they used to have the dog days of summer and all those NFL Network voiceovers, man, now you go out, the camp starts, these guys are in helmets, T-shirts, and shorts, and now they're wearing these. I liken it to the Mike Bibby. You remember Mike Bibby used to have the bubble on his helmet?
Yeah.
But they got the Guardian cap. So what do you think about this in the NFL? Obviously, ramping things back to keep players safe during training camp.
When I thought it was, man, I thought I was back with Fred Flintstone, the Great Kazoo used to come on.
The Great Kazoo. Yeah, that's old school, right? Yeah.
Big old bubble helmet. But hey, it's to protect the players. And anything, I'm about anything that protects the players. But my friend, it is a thin line between being too physical, being too tough, and too mean, and not practicing at all. After a certain amount of times of running around with no pads on, and how much install can you do? The offense is already in. Coach already said it had a great offseason. Install is in. I mean, you going 4 to 5 days, no pads, and then I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear rest day. How do you rest when you've not done anything?
Yep.
So I'm saying to myself, they should take advantage of this, for conditioning, I guess, running, because right now, like you gave out, it's a whopping cool 90-something degrees. It's 70 degrees here. 2 days ago, it was 69.
Wow.
What?
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
in the high, it's going to be 72.
yeah. We're working on a documentary about the 1991 season, and you talked with us about that and how your training camps back then, it was 2 days of hitting. It was the middle drill. Right. Emmitt Smith was getting hit, and you guys were tearing each other up inside. Obviously, that's probably, one end of the spectrum.
That's a little too much.
Yeah,
that's a little too much.
But can these guys get today's NFL? Do you feel like they can get ready when they're not hitting?
The thing that equals it out, guys, is every team, all 32, are held to this program. And so now nobody can get a physical jump on anyone. It's about how you handle your practices. If you have a padded practice and you take advantage of that padded practice, you open up with an inside run. You go to team, and everything is about being physical. Everything is about hitting. Not the wide receivers and all of that, but I'm talking about the running backs going up in the hole. You bump them. You don't grab them and take them to the ground. The offensive defensive linemen having extra sessions of 1-on-1s, 3-on-3s. You know what I'm saying? Half line. It's a mentality that you have to physically ramp up. You just can't walk out and say, we're going to be physical.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If that's not your game, if that's not – the 49ers are one of the few teams that walk out and say, we're going to be physical.
Right.
And believe me, they're going to be physical because they're going to run the ball. They're going to pound it directly at you. They're going to have plays where they isolate. I want you one-on-one. Like when Kansas City came in against us and put Big Jones right on our left guard and center and say, this is the physical mismatch, and they made it pay.
Now, I love you bring that up about the 49ers, and I think a lot of that DNA comes from the coaching staff. Shanahan, obviously, he comes from a lineage that that it's going to be physical play. But with Mike McCarthy, the number one thing that we've been trying to establish here is what is the identity of this team. And I think even going into the third year, Nate, are we any more clearer on that? What is the identity of this team going into the 2022 season?
No, we're not. We're, and I hate to say this, and I say this with dread in my heart, friend. We are a scheme team, and at the end of the day, schemes don't beat players. Players with great schemes beat the teams that only can scheme. We have CeeDee Lamb now is targeted as our number one receiver. We need to know what he can do, what he can't do, and make sure he has that ball. We can't have at the end of a game, a big game like the 49ers game, throwing to the third or fourth receiver. Those are not our guys. You're telling me now that CeeDee Lamb and once a Gallup get healthy, these are our guys. When we look at the end of the year, if we throw 1,500 passes, 900 of them should be split between those two guys. And that's just how it goes. You find a way as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach, to make sure the ball or the situation is in those guys' hands. It need to be in Pollard. It need to be in Zeke. It need to be, okay, if you think Dalton Schultz is all that in a bag of chips, those are the guys that's getting the ball in tight situations. But when we need a play, CeeDee Lamb has to be that guy, without a doubt. 99.9% of the time, if it's a pass, it's got to be going to CeeDee Lamb.
And I absolutely love that you bring that up. And I'm going into my next question, Nate and Kurt. I just got to ask you guys. And Nate, something you said, it reminds me of something that Nick Saban said. It's about the players and not the plays. And we've seen over the last couple of years, and even going into this year, specifically Mike McCarthy, a lot of the heat has been on him as to – he's the only 12-5 coach I've ever seen be on the hot seat. But at some point, this is what the rumors have started to be. But not so much about Kellen Moore, right? And even when you saw the introductory press conference, they almost went 40 minutes before they even said anything about Dak Prescott. And so, to me, Dak and Kellen have a lot of pressure on them this year to perform, especially with now the departing of Amari Cooper, and now what you just said, Nate, with CeeDee Lamb being the supposed number one wide receiver. Do you guys think that this sets up nicely for Kellen Moore to have what you would think I can't even call it a comeback year, bounce back year. He was number one in the league in offense last year, but how do you think he schemes this up now when you don't have that alpha dog that you'd had before in Amari Cooper? And I'll start with you, Kurt.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does for sure. I think, Kelvin, his criticism, I think, from all of us has been he seems like he gets a little cute sometimes. And like Nate was saying, you got to get the ball in your playmaker's hands. You don't need to option off and try to fool people. You just need to give them the ball and let's go. And so there's going to be some pressure on him for sure. But I don't know if that pressure comes with what can these skill guys do. I'm more concerned, I think, about the offensive line and what they can do. And so, and Nate, you can definitely speak to that and what you're looking forward to seeing out there. But if they don't have that offensive line in shape, it may not matter if it's CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper out there.
This is great, man. Okay, they drafted a guy number one, and this is the issues I have. You go into the press conference and Mr. Jones say, "Hey, young guys," he hear the head coach say, "Young guys," and then we go out and now we got Connor McGovern and Tyler Smith rotate. And my question is simply this. I mean, you do what you want as a head coach and as offensive line coach. Why? Number one status draft says we had a need. This need was met, and he sets at left guard. Now, Nick Eatman thinks that he may be playing right tackle before this camp is over with Tyler Smith.
Really?
Wow. But you know what? I'm saying in my mind, where does that put Steele?
Yeah.
Where does that put Steele? At swing tackle? He's not a swing tackle. He is a right tackle. And if you guys tell me, I don't think you want to experiment with over him at left tackle more than 2 or 3 games. I really don't think you want to do that.
No, I personally don't. I think all of that sets up for the nightmare situation that we have at the swing tackle position. And a lot of people know it. I think Ty Nsekhe is no longer here. So now we're relying on, let's go and ball 2 guys that haven't taken an NFL snap. So, that is definitely going to give you bubble guts when you have to think about that at the left tackle. But Nate, what I really was wanting to get you to talk about, because I know, man, on those great teams that you guys had, when it was third and 4 and you needed that first down, Troy was going to go to number 8, rain, sleet, snow, hell, high water, and he had other options as well. I mean, and we all know about how that's set up for guys like Alvin Harper to later, have those splash plays. But when you look at the wide receivers here for the Dallas Cowboys and what Dak has in the pantry to work with, do you see this working out to be another successful year for Kellen Moore in this offense?
To answer your question, young man, I ponder because I asked a lot of the guys around here, man. You have to want for a guy to be successful. And I've been on Coach Moore for 2 years now. I thought last year he had found his match. Second half of the season, he had no game plan for what was coming at him. What you have to, Dak has to want that ball to be in this guy's hand. The head coach has to want this ball to be in this guy's hand, and that's the only way we're going to see that, fellas. Michael Irvin, once he showed that he was that guy, even it was no doubt when Troy called the play, Mike would go to wherever the ball was supposed to go.
He wanted the ball.
It may not be going to the outside receiver. Mike would go to the slot, or Mike would go to the other side of the field. He would go wherever they thought that ball was going to, because we needed fellas, you saw it in the Super Bowl. You not say more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did not everybody know that this kid was going to get this ball?
Absolutely.
Did we not see in Cincinnati a guy come right out of college? We knew who was going to get the ball.
Right.
Norv Turner made it too simple. He made it too simple. I do players and not schemes. Yeah. You cannot continue to scheme and the eighth receiver missed the ball, and you're like, well, who was he throwing to? And Dak has to know that too. This not only falls on Kellen Moore, this falls on Dak too. Dak, you got to get this ball to this boy.
Yeah, that's how much. I mean, I wondered, Kellen Moore is calling the plays, but how much that falls on Dak? I mean, he's the one that's got to make the reads.
Kurt, we've been doing shows for 2 or 3 years now, and every year you hear me look. I look at Jesse. I look at whoever's running the show, and I say, when does Dak take over and say, you know what, this is how it's got to be. This is who I'm throwing the ball to. You can't trust every receiver because every receiver would not come. If every receiver was the same, why don't we just wait till the 5th round and start drafting receivers?
Right.
It's the reason you draft guys number 1. It's the reason you draft them 2. And it's the reason why you draft them, get them as free agents. It's something lacking. The further down you go, you think it's something lacking that this guy can't give you. C.D. Lamb was a top 3 or 4 receiver in his draft class. He's not disappointed us, but we have not seen everything we could see because he is not being featured. But now he has a chance to be featured. Now what will you do? Now if he's still running around clearing out lanes so we can throw the ball underneath to Jalen Tolbert, wow, really?
You don't want him to be a decoy. That's what you said. You don't want no decoy routes. You want all that to be live action. Yes, sir. I know. And that's how I segue into the next question. And I think that what you're saying is right. But for Dak, coming back off of the injury from 2020 to 2021, getting comeback player of the year. For all accounts, the successful season that he had, obviously the playoff loss, the penalties, the sacks, all the things, you didn't see him get to go in his bag and make the plays that you would expect, had seen from him this season. But, Nate, what is your expectation going into 2022 and knowing everything that he has right now to deal with as an offense?
Okay, we got to give him the year. We got, we know the money he made, okay, fine. But we need Dak, when he first walked in this league, in the next year, even though it took him getting Amari Cooper to change things around, we need that Dak. We need a Dak that when it's 3rd and 4 in the Red Sea open up, and all you got to do is run and slide and get that 4 yards. We need that Dak back. And I'm serious. I'm not saying he needs to run. We need to just set plays for him to run. But it was too many times last year when it's 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 and the Red Sea parts and he's standing there waiting on a receiver when he could have just ran and got the first down, and now we got a new, fresh set of downs. That happened too many times last year. I don't know why. I don't know if he was being cautious. I don't know if the coaching staff asked him to be cautious. I don't even know if Mr. Jones walked to him and said, son, don't run. I don't know what happened. But if we don't get that Dak back, then we're going to be in the same shoes. Yeah. I mean, because if you're going to sit there when no receivers are open and throw a 30-yard ball down the field, throw it away, or overshoot somebody up 20 yards down the field when you could have plainly got a first down, that does us no good, fellas. Yeah. I'm being honest, and that once again that falls in Dak's lap. That falls in Dak's lap. To have the record we had last year, you go back and we went over the games yesterday. Me, Brad Sham, and Mickey Spagnola. In the games we won, we should have won. The only game that we gave up, the Raiders, we should have won. But other than that, right there, other teams came out and were more physical than us, and the fellas, they were better than us. And they proved it by their physicality. They proved it by out-scheming us, and they won the game. Go back and look at that schedule. Every big game that we had, And, because we were supposed to get Denver, but Denver came in with a nice game plan, executed it, and that's when that physical thing started facing us, and we couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Do you think
we couldn't handle it?
Do you think
and a lot of that, Dak wasn't there for the Minnesota game, but a lot of that falls on your top tier players. When you go big on big and you go hard on hard, it comes down to your quarterback and who has the most elite players not making any mistakes.
I think we all feel like Dak could take this team to a Super Bowl with a good supporting cast around him. Do you think he can make that next step to become a Aaron Rodgers or a Tom, where he can carry a team?
No. Let's stop.
You don't think he can take that next step?
I have great respect for Dak. And I've always said this right here, and he can prove me wrong, and I hope he do, because I'm like your boy who's sitting next to you. I'm a die-hard Cowboy fan.
Watch what you're about
and
to say
hope
next.
He proved me wrong.
Hey, watch what you're about to say next, Nate. Watch yourself.
But brother, he got the. If he got the supporting cast, he cannot be stopped.
Right.
But can he throw 35, 45, 55 times a game, back-to-back games and win? Fellas, y'all have seen it, and the history says no.
Mm. So
I'm telling you what history says so far.
Is at this point, 7th season, whatever, you think he is what he is, or can he take that next step?
He can't, with the right people around him and the right coaches. And I'm not saying Kellen is not the right coach, and I'm not saying Coach McCarthy is not the right coach. But we have been more successful when we can run the ball 45% of the time. We have been a better team, and that's where the scheming has to come in at with your offensive line coach and with your offensive coordinator. Find a way to run that ball, and we will see a different quarterback. It has been proven since he was a rookie. He's a different quarterback when everything don't rely on his shoulders. If he's not going to run the ball at all, like he did the majority of last year, if he's not going to run the ball and he's just going to sit back there and sling it 50 times, 45 times, fellas, I hate to say it, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But I pray he proved me wrong. I promise you. If he proved me wrong, it would be no bigger guy apologizing every week. Every time we do a show, I apologize. I am sorry. But history says no. But and, I mean, what's you guys' thoughts?
No,
I
man.
really would like to know.
Well, my thing is this. I think when you look at the league right now, that's all 32 teams are throwing the ball a heck of a lot more than when you were playing, Nate. I mean, Troy couldn't have imagined in his wildest dreams of throwing the ball 50 times in a game, and now this is the norm when you look at the pass attempts across the league. I think it's somewhere between 31 and 32 attempts per game, and I'm guessing here, but I'd be willing to bet that that's the average. Yeah. And each year, that average continuously goes up. This is a passing league, Nate. And so
I agree. But one thing, you have to put enough run in there to keep the defense honest.
Absolutely.
When it ain't but 3 or 4 quarterbacks that, if we being honest, you're gonna call 3 or 4 quarterbacks. This dude is elite. This dude make everybody around him better. This dude right here does this. Okay, name them. Does that come into your top 4 or 5?
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. No.
And see, it's no knock against Dak. It's none whatsoever. I think it's about knowing your talent, knowing how to use your people, getting the best out of your players. And I think we have, because I'm sitting down and I'm looking hard. I'm saying, you know what? We are pretty good. We have good players. Our defense, was brought to my attention. Who did we lose last year? We lost Randy Gregory. Who else did we lose? We should be damn good on defense, fellas.
And
Who else did we lose?
You know what? And I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna segue and I'm gonna go to this break as Jasmine is tapping on me to go into break. But we'll be right back here on Hanging with the Boys with more defensive talk next time.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Attention Cowboys fans looking for the best shave of your life. There's a new official razor of the Dallas Cowboys, Shave Logic. Imagine not having to buy blades as often and getting more smooth shaves than your old razor, guaranteed or your money back. After more than 10 years of research and over 150 company patents, ShaveLogic is proud to offer Cowboys fans a special offer. For a limited time, visit ShaveLogic.com and get a free $10 gift card with your purchase. Go to ShaveLogic.com now for more smooth shaves guaranteed.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Back in action here at the SWBC studios. This is Hanging with the Boys, sponsored by Wingstop.
Yes.
I watch y'all show. I just want you to know. I watch you guys' show, and I watch y'all all year get Wingstop. I watch you get Whataburger. I saw the whole Whataburger cap handout that Shannon gave.
It's been a while.
I watched all that, and I just want to let y'all know that talking Cowboys, I don't know how we get left out of this, man, but I'm a little jealous about that. I'm just saying, man. We didn't get none of the perks at work that you guys
with
get.
Shannon.
Yeah, you got to talk to Shannon.
Get with Shannon.
Man, but Shannon is hogging
He
everything.
schmoozes the right people.
Get with him and tell him. I see Nick and all of them talking to him all the time.
I think we just get the tip of the iceberg what Shannon gets. He gives us a few crumbs once in a while. Shannon gets loaded up, I think.
Oh, yeah, he get all the coupons and keep them to himself. Wow.
Hey, Nate, you have played with and against some great defensive players. You have seen some of the best that have ever laced them up with the likes of the Charles Haley's of the world. You have seen some monsters. We have Brian Young. I mean, come on now.
Jerome Brown,
the great Jerome Brown. Lawrence Tate, yes, sir. And the list goes on and on.
Henry Carson,
yes,
man. That's a relic, man. And I saw him standing up the other day. I'm still kind of upset.
I was saying, you still a little mad about something that he did to you.
Yeah, that dude almost broke my neck as a young player, man. I look at Mr. Carson, that old, hard, raw bone dude. Bro.
Him, Pepper Johnson, Carl Banks, man, what a team that was for the Giants. Yeah. But we think we have one of our own. And I call him the bazooka, the big briefcase. Micah Parsons.
Big briefcase.
The big
All
briefcase.
Right.
Yes, sir. They got to run him through TSA twice when he go through the airport. But when you have a player like that on your team and the expectations are so high, you see Micah now. I mean, he's on the front of the Star now at the Ford Center. The marketing, the advertising, the man is delivering pieces in his spare time now. So, what are your expectations of him? And I'm asking you this, Nate, because coming in his first year, no one and anyone that says that they expected him to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, they would be telling you a fib. But what are your expectations of Micah and how much better he can be basically in his second season?
I'm a realist. Man. I expect simple. My expectations are simple. If Micah can do what he did last year, if he don't play one play better than he played last year, he will have had a great year. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because now he has a target on his back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everybody's gonna want to know where he's at, where he's lined up at, what formation. The whole NFC East right now has one guy charting every move this kid make. Philadelphia, Washington, and New York, they have one guy charting in this formation, where did he line up at? In this scheme, where did he line up at? And when we get 2 backs, 1 back, 4 wides, 5 wides, where did he line up? Inside the 20, where does he line up at? It's one guy, I'm telling you, he's just sitting there in front of the computer just putting it in, feeding it. And if he can come up and do what he did last year, he will be successful once again.
Do you guys haven't, like Hek'ma said, it's all these off the field stuff, all the star we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Does that concern you guys?
It doesn't concern me.
No.
For me, Hek'ma may have it. For me, until he have that mental blow up in a game, this is the progression of a budding superstar. This is how it goes for a budding superstar. This is just another part. Can he handle it? And if he can't, then you hope that someone is in his camp, a coach or one of the coaches can get to him and say, hey, back up now. Remember, what you do on the field multiplies what happens off the field.
Yeah, he is, to me, I feel like, and piggybacking off of what you said, he's a budding superstar, and I think that he has that written all over him. And just from the way that he has competed in OTAs and the way that you just see him competing in everything that he basically does. But the argument has to start with, is he a linebacker or is he an edge rusher? It is my thought process, Nate, and I'm going to throw this out to you because I feel as though we are shortchanging his growth by standing him up as an off-ball linebacker. I believe he is an edge rusher. And a lot of people have noted that, hey, he's gotten a ton of his sacks from the linebacker position, standing over the center in that A gap or B gap. That benefits him. He's so athletic and quick, he's going to win that anyway. But if you put him at the edge, I don't see a tackle in the league that can match his speed coming off the edge. And this, no matter how you scheme for it, people tried to scheme for Derek Thomas. They tried to scheme for Lawrence Taylor. It still didn't stop those gentlemen from having double-digit sacks, Nate.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Both those guys you talk about, if you go back and look, especially Lawrence Taylor, they was all over the field. They were all over the field. I battle with that too. But he's his own worst enemy. He shouldn't be this good if he's one line up one play. He's killing himself. I mean, some people want him at linebacker, some people, but he is so talented. That's why I say if he can repeat what he did last year. Because that's what the great ones do. They don't have. You'll see every now and then a movement in their stats one way or another, but the emphasis and the impact of what they do to games, you cannot put in stats. And so I like, man, is he an edge rusher? Is he a linebacker? And I'm opposite of you. I'm like, he should be a linebacker. Then I got to thinking, okay, I remember Lawrence Taylor used to sometimes we'll go to the other side. Get over the guard, just not a lot, but just enough to make you wet your pants a little bit,
Right.
And so
that's what makes.
He's just a product of his own greatness, man. At his young age, at his young career.
But I think that's what does make him great. Is he has that ability to play edge rusher and linebacker, and
right.
I like the way Quinn has used him. He's moved him around. You see Quinn doing that. DeMarcus Lawrence was lining up yesterday inside, and he did a lot last year, and moving these different parts. Jaron Kurtz dropping down to linebacker or playing safety. I mean, that's the key to his success. I think if he lined up at edge rusher every snap or whatever, he'd get beat up.
But think about this, Kurt. I mean, when last year this defense led the league in turnovers, and when you look at any of those great quarterbacks that we were just talking about, the elite quarterbacks, they don't throw an interception because they made a bad read. They throw an interception because they had heat on their neck.
Right.
That's what the Cowboys, if you're leading in all of the categories that they led in, the one that was iffy was sacks, getting to the quarterback. We have a guy who is a bona fide hunter. Yeah. He is going to go after your quarterback. I mean, I think of guys like Simeon Rice, guys like that would put their hand in the ground and you couldn't do anything to stop them. Why overthink this? And I understand, like you just said, he's a victim of his own success. But in the same, let's take something off the table for him. Look, man, don't even worry about going in coverage. There's no more Grunk in Tampa. I don't want to see you out in the flat anymore. I want to see you going after Tom.
I don't know, man. I like him being used in different scenes. I think, you put him in there against the run game time after time on that edge, it's going to be tough on him. And in this defense, if he's not lining up at linebacker, who is?
The thing is, fellas, see, and this is the positive debate that I like that this kid gives us. We can't lose if he's at linebacker, and we can't lose.
Yeah. If he's on the field.
Where are we going to lose at?
Yeah.
The only way we lose is that Sam Williams don't come around enough to make an impact. If Armstrong don't be a better player more consistently, we know he can flash. If Tristan Hill continues to flash and then go to IR and then come back and not be a good player, we need Gallimore. We need him to be on the field 65 to 70% of the time. This is where, because if these other guys, if we can get DeMarcus Lawrence to give us 75% on-field time, 75 to 80% on-field time, then this kid will flourish, and we will continue to have this positive debate. But if these kids, if they don't flourish, if these other guys don't flourish, we're going to crush this kid.
Well, look,
I don't care how great you are. You're not greater than 11 guys.
Well, I got to say this. Stephen Jones talked about the what he called the dry powder that they have.
Yeah.
They got $20 million in dry powder, right?
Yeah.
So let's use some of that dry powder. All right? I want to use some of that because the linebacker question, I think it still needs to be addressed.
For sure.
I know we brought some guys in free agency. We brought some guys off the street. But still, I think there's still a need.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let me say this right here. As much nickel as we play, Hek'ma, as much nickel as we play, Kurt, what type of linebackers are you talking about?
Jerron Kearse, 6'4", 215-pound, 20-pound guys that can run.
So we got Jabril Cox coming into his second year.
Mm-hmm.
Which we hope. He's coming off an ACL, so we hope.
Yeah, yes, he is. But he's practicing. I mean, they don't have him on. I think he's practicing. Even with Micah's obviously a star, but then you've got Leighton Vander Esch, who had a good, solid season last year, but he's not a star. Right? Hopefully he will be again. And then you got Jabril Cox coming off injury, and after that, what do you got? You got young guys.
Right.
Well, you got to say we have the big package where we have our safeties coming down in the box too, right?
Right.
Like Hek'ma told me earlier, the league is evolving.
Yeah.
And it ain't so much you need that plugger as you need guys that can cover, and you need more surer tacklers than anything else. You need guys that once the guy catch the ball, it's 3rd and 4, and they throw a pass, and the guy only gets 3 yards. Normally the guy's there. Tackle him. He don't get that extra yard. That is where, for a lot of years, we've seen the Belichick teams. For a lot of years, it's 3rd and 5. We got him now. But they give you 4 yards, and that's where you tackle that. We just have to be better tacklers. And I'm telling you, Hek'ma, y'all. I'm talking to Derek, so so I can be on y'all show if y'all want.
Yeah,
while we out
absolutely.
in camp.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna go ask him if it's cool that I stay on the whole time, whether y'all use me or not.
No, we gonna use
another
you,
$10 for you, man.
Yes, sir. I still say, fellas, I'm looking at one thing. I'm looking at Sam Williams, Dante Fowler. I'm looking at Tristan Hill. I'm looking at DeMarcus Lawrence, Carlos Watkins, Darren Armstrong, Basham, Neva Gallimore, Osa. We forgot about Osa now.
Right.
A rookie, Quentin Bohannon should have grown up this year. Chance to go. We have inside guys that should grow up this year. Should grow up, and Osi is ahead of schedule because he was forced to play because Gallimore got hurt last year. Remember?
Yeah.
So if we can get this pressure up the middle, our outside guys should flourish. They brought in this John Ridgeway, but I don't put much stock in guys until they actually start playing. All these guys I've mentioned have played. They have tasted the fire. They know the speed of the game. They understand a little bit of the tricks of the trade. These guys should give this one guy who is two guys that we're asking a lot from. That's our corner, and that's our linebacker slash. And for we can be safe, for Hek'ma won't cut our heads off. Defensive end.
No,
Parsons.
Look, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take our last break because we only got a few more minutes on the show. Hey Nate, I can talk football with you all day, man. I corner you and I talk to you all day about some football. But here's the thing: we got an international call coming through from somebody that wants to talk to you specifically, Mr. Nate Newton. So we'll be right back here on Hanging with the Boys.
All right.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go. Or was it they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, Cowboys fans, if you're thinking about attending a game this season, visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today. Stay at the team hotel, have dinner with a Cowboys legend, and experience AT&T Stadium's exclusive VIP Owners Club. Also, tour the Star, get autographs from your favorite players, and talk X's and O's with me, Mickey Spagnola. The official travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys will take care of all your travel needs. Visit cowboystravel.com.
With Smoothie King's original Angel Food and new Angel Food Slim without added sugar, you no longer have to choose between treating yourself and hitting your goals this summer. You don't have to choose between great taste and feeling great. Because at Smoothie King, every blend is made with whole fruits and no syrups, so you can satisfy your cravings without compromise. The only choice you will need to make is which one is best for you. Try our classic Angel Food or the new Angel Food Slim, blended without added sugar. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
And here we are again, back in action at the SWBC studios, and with Kurt Diesel. I'm calling you Kurt Diesel.
Okay.
Diesel.
Kurt Diesel, boy. When you got
Diesel.
bumped up like that,
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm in here with the Diesel and the great Nate. Nate, I'm telling you, man, every time I see you, what I say, I'm hollering down the hall, Nate, come here, because I always got a hot take I want to lay on you before I come into the studio. But guys, as we go into the last segment, and obviously this has to be quick, I want to talk about a guy that I feel like has been greatly disrespected during this offseason. A guy by the name of Ezekiel Elliott, a guy that had 10 tutties, 1,000 yards on a PCL. But yet and still, he is the guy that everybody is having to talk up. And he almost seems like the forgotten man. But let me tell you about the forgotten man. Since 2016, he has led the league in rushing from all those running backs. In his 2016, 7,000 yards to be exact. What is it about Ezekiel Elliott that makes people so comfortable with disrespecting a man that has been durable, available, and has been a staple for this team? And Kurt, I'll start with you.
Well, I think, I guess you blame it on the PCL last year, but there's a lack of burst. I mean, he's not the same back he was in 2016, and that's the way it goes with running backs. That's why the position's kind of not as revered as it maybe once was. But I don't know. Last year, I thought the team might have mismanaged him a little bit. You know, he had the PCL injury. You know, what would you rather have? Him a few weeks off and rest him, run Pollard a little more, bring back Zeke strong. Instead, he fought through it, and props to him. He's a warrior. There's no doubt in that. Right. But was that the best move for the team? You know, going forward, he says he's healthy. He says he's feeling good. But I feel like I've heard that before.
I heard it all before.
And so
it's a great song.
If he's 100%, that line's 100%, then like Nate said, I think Dak will click better. The offense will run better. He'll have a great year. But I don't know, man. It's been a while, it seems like, since he's been that running back old.
What say you, Nate?
It must be the money.
Yeah, it must be the money.
True. He's got a lot to play for.
Me and Kurt have friendly banter about that all the time. And Kurt may agree with me here. It's just about the money.
Yep.
When you pay a guy 10, 11, 12 mil a year, at running back in today's NFL, you expect super numbers, not just good numbers. Zeke has had good numbers. And Kurt will tell you, I battle you hard, blow for blow with Zeke. But I'm a realist. Zeke and Tyron are those guys that Mr. Jones are talking about this year. We need to see you at a high level for a lot of games.
Yeah. Zeke's really playing for a contract.
Yeah.
Even though he's got another year left, he's got to have a super year to get that next year.
I'm a big Zeke fan. I'm telling you, me and Kurt, we batter back and forth having fun with it. But I'm going to tell you, man.
All right. Well, look.
12 mil, we want 1,500 yards. Right.
Well, look.
Yep.
And a couple of 400 yards fast.
That's right.
All right.
It's just the money.
Well, before we drop the top on the show and ride out of here, guys, I got to ask you, what position battles, and Nate, I'll start with you. What is a position battle that you are looking forward to seeing while you're out there in Oxnard?
Hey, bro, these inside tackles, who is it going to be? Tristan Hill? Is it going to be Nava Gallimore? Is it going to be Osa? Is it going to be Bohannon? Is it going to be Golson? This is a real battle. Not that stuff they got at left guard. Connor McGovern versus the first-round pick. Stop. Come on, man. That ain't no battle. Get that man his job at this door.
Yep.
Who are you looking for, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, really saying that offensive line, it's got some question marks for sure. And, you know, you spend a first-round pick on a guy you want to play guard. I mean,
thank you.
You know, at this point, man, he's got to have as many reps as he can get. You know, I understand you got to make sure him and Connor's the next guy, but man, you spent some high draft capital on this guy. You better make sure he can play that position. So that and you know, I'll pass. I'll stop there.
No, don't pass. What you got, Kurt? Come on now.
What you got, Kurt?
Well, I mean, that whole offensive line, you know, is Tyler Biadasz your man for sure? Swing tackle.
He's the only one we got, Kurt.
Exactly. He's the only one you got. You mentioned earlier the swing tackle position. You're going with two haven't played an NFL game. Is that going to work? Do you need veteran help there? So this offense doesn't click if that offensive line isn't healthy.
Don't worry about it. Drop out.
At drop out, as my grandmama, you see my grandmama add seasoning to flour before she fried chicken. I say, why you do that? She say, you'll see when I get the chicken. So we need some seasoning in our dry powder. But the one position that I'm looking forward to watching the battle, and that's at wide receiver. Who's going to be that fourth and fifth guy? I mean, we had some guys last year that we could rely on.
Stop.
Sure,
Hold
on.
We don't need a fourth and fifth guy. We're going to throw the ball to just three guys.
Come on, we got you know better. You know better than that.
You know better than that.
You know better than that. So there are some guys on the other end of this that we're going to need to figure out are these guys who we think they are? Simi Fehoko, he came in here. He didn't have a successful first year, but he's a guy that right now he has to step up. He has a lot of heat on his head. There's a kid, Houston, out there. We got Freifogel. We got T.J. Vasher. It is a lot of pressure at that number 5, number 4 spot. So we got to figure out who that guy's going to be. Come on, Nate. Let me finish up my stuff, man.
That whole that whole receiving unit could be a question. I mean, who's number 2? Is Tolbert ready to step in? Is Gallup going to be the same player? Washington going to take that next step? You know, and Lamb is a number 1 for the first time. I think it's top to bottom. You got a lot of question marks there. So
yeah, who's going to be our Kevin Williams? That's who we're trying to figure out, Nate. But look, guys, that's a show for us. Thank y'all for hanging out with us on Hanging with the Boys, the People's Show, as Shannon Gross always says. But thank you, everybody in Cowboy Nation. Thank you for hanging out. But I want to say before I leave, a good friend of mine, her brother passed away, Philip Yarbrough. This show was for you. Okay. Hey, man, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on Hanging with the Boys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!